Hey art gang, how you doing? I hope you are well. I thought I would just check in with another creative exercise to hopefully keep you busy if you're able to create at the moment. So, my stay-at-home art buddy. I thought we could do some mini abstracts. So you know how I love doing mini abstracts? Well, let's go even smaller today and make some functional art. So we're actually going to make some art bookmarks. So hopefully pretty and usable, and we're going to keep them pretty abstract. Right, so I'm cutting mine down to size, and what size you use for your bookmark is absolutely up to you. I'm going to try and get quite a few out of this piece of heavyweight mixed media paper. So I'm making mine around about 2 inches by 6 inches. So that's approximately 5 centimeters by 15 centimeters or thereabouts. So just cut out a bunch of them and you're ready to go. Next you want to pick out some paints, and we're going to work on quite a few at the same time, so pick out a range of different colours. So pick out around about, say, 6 to 10 different colours, and if you have them, if not, then just go with what you've got. But the idea of picking out a few colours and not trying to overthink what colours you've got is so that you can mix and match different things and just go with how you're feeling at the moment, rather than thinking that you have to work in a particular colour combination. And that's hopefully going to introduce us to some different colours and different ideas as we work on these bookmarks. So we want them to be free and just, no limits to them, even though the only limit there is that they're really tiny. Now, to help me not overthink my colours, I've just put a small amount of each paint onto my palette, so I'm kind of ready to just dip in and go. And that's really the mindset we're going to go for, is just going for it. So don't think about the colour, just start adding it to your bookmark and try adding it in different ways as well, and in different places on your little pieces of paper. It's fun to try to do something different on each piece if you can. So mix and match, change it up, splodge a little bit here, splodge a little bit there, put a shape here, put a line there, whatever you fancy to start filling up that tiny space. And it's actually quite amazing how much you can get into such a small space. So once I have 1 or 2 colours on each piece, I'll let them dry before then adding more colour, and that's where working on quite a few at the same time really helps, because you can go work on something else, another bookmark, whilst you're letting other pieces dry. And how you keep adding the colour is completely up to you. Try not to be too repetitive. So don't feel that you have to put like an orange square on every single bookmark. The idea is to get them all looking different, to just keep it free, a bit of free play to see where it goes. So I try not to be too repetitive. There are some places where I might do the same thing or the same colour on a few bookmarks at the same time, particularly if I don't want to clean my brush off. But you can see I am making it different each time I do it. And the other reason why we've got so many colours that we're working with here is so that you don't have to feel that you have to put every colour on every piece. But do try and use all of the colours somewhere in one of these pieces. So keep on working and vary up the size of the paint patches that you put on there. And I found whilst I was working through mine that my paint splodges tended to get a little bit smaller with each piece. As the white space starts disappearing, then I ended up putting smaller shapes on. But don't forget you can layer as well, because if you're using opaque colours it's really easy to layer over the top because the opaque colours are going to block out what's gone before. And if you're using translucent colours, you will still see the paint underneath if you layer over the top, but it's going to look different. It's going to add a sort of glaze over the top. And if you don't like that glaze, then you can always put in an opaque colour and then put your translucent colour over the top. So a light opaque colour like a white or even an off-white, like I'm using a Naples yellow red colour as my sort of neutral light colour. And I can use that to block off areas where I want to then put a translucent colour over the top, and it will give me a different colour, but still it's fine. I'm quite happy with that, and I can mix those colours actually on this small space. Every now and then do check that you've actually used every colour that's on your palette somewhere in this group. You want to challenge yourself to use all of them, but as I said, you don't need to put all of them on each bookmark. But by having a lot of those colours and trying to use them all somewhere on your mini pieces, you will end up with some really interesting variations and combinations that you might not have thought about if you'd sort of sat down beforehand and thought about the colour combination and what colours you were going to use. So you're going to end up with a pretty colourful bunch of tiny little abstract pieces. So let them all dry before you go on to the next layer. And for the next layer we're going to actually do some doodling with pens, and I'm using paint pens, but if you don't have paint pens, try other pens that you might have. Ballpoint pens will work, there's some fine line markers will work, depending on what kind of acrylics you've been using. If your acrylics have a really glossy finish to them, then you might find that some fine line markers don't like that, so give them a test beforehand. If you find that you have got very glossy bookmarks and you don't like that glossy look, and you've got some matte medium, then just put a layer of matte medium over the top. Now this layer is all about adding details to your bookmarks to finish them off. And just as with the adding of the paint, we still want to think loosely about it. We don't want to feel that we have to make amazing focal points to them or anything like that. It's just about doodling and having a bit of fun with it. So just as we were dotting about between bookmarks when doing the paint, I'm going to use that same sort of rhythm here. And don't feel you have to go through each bookmark one by one to finish it. Just dot around. See what you can add to different bookmarks. Go with the one that is pulling you at the moment. Add some circles to it, some dots or other shapes, whatever you like. And then move on to another one and come back to that first one if you feel like it. So we're just looking to add the same amount of visual interest as we did with the paint layer, but we only need to add small amounts of it on this one. We don't have to cover the whole surface. And you can also pick out some shapes that you'd put down with paint and maybe emphasize them a bit more with the pen work, or just add some more random shapes on there. And you might find that black and dark colours are really useful for this. But it's also fun to add some light colours as well, and you can layer up here too. So start with some light colours and then move into your darks. So yeah, go ahead and doodle away to your heart's content, build up more layers and play with that tiny space. Have some of the shapes overlapping the edges of your bookmarks, or put them smack in the middle of your bookmarks or to one corner. All sorts of things you can do. It is quite surprising on such a small space. And when you feel like a piece might be done, don't be afraid to call it done. There will be a point at which a piece is like, yeah, I'm finished. So some pieces are going to be more complex than others, and that's fine too. So it's super fun to keep building up your bookmarks like this, bit by bit. And it's a great exercise to do, and at the end you have bookmarks for all the books you're reading at the moment. And then even if you don't need all of these bookmarks, or you don't think you're ever going to use them, then I think they make lovely leave art, and maybe when we're all out of our lockdowns and our hibernations again, we can leave them for others. Hopefully brighten up other people's days. Now if you wanted to decorate both sides, or leave the back clear so you could write a message. And originally I was thinking that I would actually decorate both sides of mine, but in the end I thought I would leave the backs clear, and maybe when I get to that point I'll put little messages. You could put even little quotes on the back, or just, send somebody a bit of love on the back of your bookmark. So let me know what you do with yours, and of course I would love to see them, so do share and just tag me in on your social media shares if you put them up there, and my links are all in the video description. Okay, so have fun with your bookmarks. I hope they help you to get some creating done, help you to stay home and stay well, and I will catch you again soon with some more creative exercises. Bye!